In this video, we're going to be talking about clearing out your mental house, your mental declutter. We know that it's so important to take time for ourselves, but how often do we do that, ladies? You know, my question for you is, are you on your list of priorities? Are you on your list of priorities? And this doesn't mean that you need to be number one on the list, but you do need to be somewhere on that priority list. What happens is that we're often so bombarded with other things that we put everything and everyone else first and us after the fact. And we know that we're not good for anyone else until we take care of ourselves. So it's really important to clear our minds. We know that there's so many ways that you can do that: meditation, art, music, whatever that may be for you. Amazing. What I want to talk about is, number one, the importance of clearing out the mental clutter, because if you don't have a clear mind, it affects the way you think. And if you don't have the proper thoughts, if you have negative thoughts, or you're operating from a place of fear or guilt or shame or worry, that's all hindering your ability to make money. It's hindering your ability to make money. Remember, abundance, wealth, prosperity in all of its forms, not just monetary, is there for us. It's who we are. It's that in our human form, we block the flow. So how do you keep your gates open? Everything is trying to come to you. All the money you could ever dream of, ever want, is there. It's your job to keep those gates open so that it actually manifests into your life. So with the mental decluttering, again, you choose what's going to work for you. In this particular video, I want to talk about the area of forgiveness. Forgiveness is a term that we are so familiar with, and at the same time, many people don't know what it's like to forgive, truly forgive, or have a difficult time forgiving. And what does that have to do, number one, with your mental decluttering? Well, you'd be surprised at how many of our negative emotions come from the lack of forgiveness and compassion, because compassion goes hand in hand with forgiveness. How much forgiveness is actually lacking in our lives. Forgiveness can be towards someone else, or it could be for yourself. And most importantly, it is for yourself. It should be for yourself more than anyone else. Think about the things that you haven't done, the things that you've done in the past that you don't feel the best about, things that people have done to you where you're just like raging about or so upset over. It could be your ex, it could be a former partner, it could be your boss, it could be a client, it could be what your children did, it could be what you did. There's so many things that we go through in life, and unfortunately people carry around this regret of what could have, should have, would have, you know. And it's so important to stay focused on the present moment and going forward, not dwelling on the past. So I'm going to walk through a process that I use, and it's not meant to be a hard rule like you have to follow step 1, 2, 3. It's an easy way to remember how to forgive if you ever need to, and letting go of resentment. See, forgiveness is so freeing. It allows us to release the resentment, which resentment is a very heavy energy because it carries a lot of guilt and shame and anger and upset, embarrassment, a lot of heavy, dense, negative energies. So releasing resentment takes off that load physically and emotionally and mentally and even spiritually. So forgiveness, what is forgiveness? Forgiveness is love. L-O-V-E, love. L, let go of resentment, and that starts with a choice to let go. Let me first share the difference between a choice and a decision. A decision is something where you're weighing the pros and the cons. Well, if I choose A, this is what can happen. These are the possible outcomes. If I choose B, these are the outcomes that happen. So therefore, I'm going to pick A or B. Now, with a choice is simply a choice. You make the choice. There's no weighing the pros or cons. There's no of this, none of this. Is it better for me? Well, what's he going to gain? Well, what am I going to gain? It's just making the choice. And with that comes trust. Trust in yourself, trust in the higher power that everything is going to work out. So forgiveness starts with a choice to forgive, not deciding to forgive, to choose to forgive. Remember, our words that we speak are very, very important. Choose to forgive. Make the declaration silently or out loud. I choose to forgive. I choose to forgive. I choose to forgive. O. So we start with L, now we have O. O is to obliterate stories, old stories, that forgiveness is hard and that the other person does not deserve forgiveness. So if you say that forgiveness is hard, which a lot of people do, you create the story that it is hard, and thereby, again, remember I said words have power. So when you say that forgiveness is difficult or hard, you create that in your life and you make it difficult for yourself. So I want you to let go of that lingo. Don't use those words. Now, I'm not saying it's easy either. It's challenging, you can say. You can overcome challenge. Just be mindful of the choice of words that you use, right? Forgiveness, don't say it's difficult, don't say it's hard. Now, the other thing is letting go of the story that that other person doesn't deserve forgiveness. And the way I look at it is we have no right to judge anybody on this earth, no matter how wrong we see their actions or bad we see their actions. It's not our job. Ladies, it is not our job to judge. Not our job to judge. There is a law called the law of karma that will take care of everything. You might not see it in this lifetime, but trust, because it is law, it will take care of itself. Focus on you, focus on the positive, and only on the positive, and moving forward. Now, V, we have L-O-V. V is validate your feelings. So, remember I just said to let go of the judgment of other people, right? And stay positive, look forward. V may seem to contradict it, but it's not. Hear me out. V is to validate your feelings first. The anger, the rage, the shame, the embarrassment, the fear, the worries, all of that is normal human emotions. We all have an ego and it serves us. Ego is not a bad thing. It is there to help us learn our lessons. And if we didn't have it, we wouldn't feel the contrast of what we don't want to what we do want. So the ego is there. It is important for us as human beings. So through the feelings of rage, anger, shame, guilt, embarrassment, worry, fear, all of that stuff, and so on and so forth, we get to, number one, flush out those emotions, which is important. And then we get to say, hey, I don't like how that feels. It's really icky. And we get to learn from our experience and choose differently later on. Here's why I believe so much in, crying it out, writing, cussing, swearing, screaming, go to a rage room, because too many times people hold it in. They don't fully express what's there, and it bubbles, it boils, and everybody has a threshold. And there comes a point where that threshold will have you burst or snap towards yourself, towards others, and it's not healthy. Second of all, the HeartMath Institute did a study where just 5 minutes of anger, and remember, anger can come in different forms. 5 minutes of anger can impair your immune system for more than 6 hours. Crazy, right? Just 5 minutes of anger can impair your immune system for more than 6 hours. Now think about that. Do you want that impact on your body because of what somebody else did? Even if it's because of what you did, why would you want to hold on to that energy and have yourself wither away because of it? I wouldn't. I think that's not a wise choice. My opinion. It's not a wise choice to do that. In our society, we see these things of, say positive affirmations, positive thinking. That is great. That is helpful. And at the same time, people can use affirmations and positive thinking as a temporary bandage over a mound of pain. So I want you to really honor the feelings, the sadness, all of that stuff that doesn't feel good. To face the darkness first, because within the darkness is the light. They are the same thing. Dark and light really are not opposites. There is no duality. They are the same thing. They're simply on opposite ends of the spectrum of one thing. Dark is the absence of light, but it's still in the spectrum. Same spectrum. So it's important to deal with the dark first and then focus on what you want and focus on feeling good. How long it's going to take you it's up to you. And just know that the longer you dwell in stuff, the negative emotions, the longer, or the more of an impact, I should say, it has on you. So it's up to you in terms of just, you could just feel the emotions and keep going. And this can take one person a week, and it can take someone else 3 years. It's a whole other conversation of what makes somebody take 3 years and how to shorten that time from 3 years to 3 weeks. But like I said, another conversation. Let's go to E. So LOVE. E is equanimity. So what that means is whatever happened for you, notice I said for you, not to you. Whatever happened for you should not debilitate you or take you down in life. So, for example, there's a lady who called me after I shared my story around domestic violence, and she shared with me that she was raped 10 years prior. And she said, this just happened to you in the last few years. How did you get over it so fast? Because I was raped 10 years ago and I still, get upset, and it's impacting my current husband, my new husband. Imagine 10 years of carrying this around and letting it throw you off of your everyday life. Be so strong mentally that no matter what happens to you on the outside can't affect you inside. See, a lot of people are living today, running around outside doing their everyday business, and yet they're more imprisoned than the men that I work with, who are actually physically incarcerated. Are you self-imposing incarceration on yourself? Are you imposing incarceration on yourself? A lot of people are mentally incarcerated. And there are a lot of, reasons that the mind, that the ego wants to, justify of why you should feel angry and why you are the right, you are in the right in every situation. I want you to, not that I want you to, see, I gotta be mindful of my words too. I invite you to, moment by moment, be conscious of the choices that you're making, the words that you're speaking, how you're thinking. How are you thinking about someone else? Now, here's a good test too when it comes to forgiveness, because we covered LOVE. When you think of somebody who in your past has hurt you, and you want to know, this is a little bit of a litmus test, and you want to know if you truly forgive them, think about that person. If you feel nothing or positive, awesome. True forgiveness. Now, if you think about that person and you're still kind of like, yeah, wouldn't hang out with them. Oh, right, yeah, that person. There's still something there. Still something there. And I want to make this important note. It's really important to have boundaries as well. I'm not saying kumbaya, love everybody and invite them into your home after you forgive them. If somebody is continuing to push their boundaries, or they really crossed your boundary, it's okay to keep them away. Even if it's family, it's okay to keep them away. You can love them from afar, and yet you don't have to invite them into your circle of friends or your network just because you forgave them. And returning to what I was saying about the litmus test, still, if you think about someone, you're like, just, I invite you to look at what else may be there to still clear with them. Now, here's something, people ask me, Jess, how do you suggest someone starts to forgive? You can do this whether the person is in front of you or not. I find that it's more powerful to express forgiveness in person. However, if you're not ready for that, or they're not around, or they passed, you can write it on a piece of paper, write out everything that needs to be said that hasn't been said. Write everything that has to be said that hasn't been said. And not blaming. Express how you feel. And then you can keep it to give to them later, or you can simply rip it up. Some people find it therapeutic to burn it. So it's totally up to you. That's something you can do. And then I want to throw in one more bonus. So LOVES. S is see this experience. And notice that I said experience as something that has happened for you and not to you. Everything, every adversity, every rock bottom, every person that has come into our life that has hurt us, there is a reason for that. And that person, as in, one of the things that I love as a Kabbalah student is how they explain how every person in your life is an actor in your life. So each person has a role to teach you, right? We hear this similar in other books where everybody's a teacher in your life. This is essentially it. So every experience is there to teach you a lesson. It's an opportunity to grow and to learn from and to transcend. And oftentimes when we don't take those lessons for what it is, it's kind of like the universe handing you a silver platter going, here you go. Here's your gift to learn from. And we can choose to, or we don't. And if we don't, oftentimes it comes up again later down the road. You might notice in your life certain patterns like, why does this keep happening to me? Or why do I keep attracting this kind of person? That's part of it. So that's LOVES. There you go. That's a process for forgiveness. Not exhaustive by any means. Not a hard rule book. Not a step-by-step. See it more as a guideline. I have a close, forgiveness has a special place in my heart. Let's just say that. And so that's why I passionately speak about it. I speak about it to a lot of different people. So start there and see what weight you can shed And I would love to know, put it in the comment box, put it in the forum, in the chat, wherever you communicate with the other people in this program. Share with each other, what do you have that you got to let go, and share your physical decluttering, your mental decluttering, and your digital decluttering. I would love to know all three. And the difference it's made for you, how it's impacted your life. And you may not see something tonight, it may be in 6 months, or it may be in a year. That's okay. Whenever you can, I would love to hear from you. All right. And cheers to your wealth, to your prosperity, to your money health. This is really exciting. And, it's never too late to learn about money consciousness and expand and enhance our relationship with money. Because for a lot of us, especially growing up before 2020, the systems, the school system, we don't learn it in there. So unfortunately, this is really important work. And like I said, it's never too late to start enhancing your relationship with money. Now is the perfect time. I appreciate you, and cheers to your wealth. And I look forward to hearing from you.